Hello, 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 hello. Good to see you. Another stream. I know people hate me for that. I don't want to stream. Streaming is lovely. When you stream, you feel like you're important. You feel like you have something to do with your life. So that's why I'm listening some stuff, and that's why I'm streaming. For this stream, I'm just going to share it to basic places. I don't know, people are going to actually come to watch those, but that's what we're going to be doing here today. Very, very simple stuff. I don't know, what do I need to specify in this information sheet here? Just adding information here. So basically, I'm going to be listening soundtrack from Harry Potter Philosopher's Stone, the first game, and of course, I have to admit it is something I played when I was young. But I'm not bringing this because only for nostalgia. I think it's actually pretty good. And you might be interested for the fact that it's made by Jeremy Soule of all people. So that's an interesting fact. And perhaps our video for our review in future. I'm going to be writing about that here while on the stream. And I'm going to be listening it. And of course, just chatting with you. That's the thing. That's what we're going to be doing. Awful, I know, but that's what we're going to be doing, because I feel important when I stream or something like that. I don't know, but I kind of have this feeling of just streaming right now, and overall I don't have anything better to do today, because I just decided myself I'm not going to do the game developing, I'm not going to do the music composing, so I'm just going to be listening to stuff and actually make a fun stream for myself, because sometimes when I do these streams I feel like it just it's so much work and so much everything is bad. But the thing is, I feel when I just listening some stuff, everything is relaxing and fun, and just talk with people. Because usually streams are something like, they are not like what I usually do. Usually streams that people watch
Hey Elias, good evening.
Good evening, Lan. How are you doing? How are you doing? Excellent, good to see you. Basically, doing good. Not as always. Last week I was sick, but now I'm doing good. Just today met some people, which was fun. They were fun to talk about. I was actually like in a pub drinking, and it was fun. Also, there was.
I am great, thank you. I hope you're as well.
Very many great things happening today for me. It was a very positive day overall, and hopefully it was for you as well. I like just talking with you, Lan, in Discord. Perhaps later on I'm telling more about that, but everything is going well. I'm just going to be listening Philosopher's Stone soundtrack from old times, and just have a lovely stream and discuss with people and discuss about topics at the same time as we listen. Because of course this is not a radio station. It's not a radio station. In the early days of when I did some streaming, I did this kind of music stream. I let the song play by itself and such. But I want to keep the music in the background, and I would recommend you to check it out yourself. But I'm also going to just talk here, discuss, and have a chat at the same time. That's the plan. Let me actually put the music on. Music. Is it enough level? I'm not sure. Let me know if it's too loud or if it's not too loud. Basically, Harry Potter. Harry Potter was a very big game back in the day. Of course, none of the adult gamers back in the day did not purchase this, but it didn't matter. It sold out really well because of course the films were coming out, the books were already a big hit, and it's a very interesting kind of look into the history of actually the development.
Okay, is this the Jeremy Soule? Not like the movies, John Williams.
The problem with that is that I got like YouTube bans me because of that, or if I do that, and also my Twitch channel might be deleted. Yes, because they're all the copyright bots, and everyone is going to just attack me like charge. They just go and punch me to the ground. Perhaps later on I might do a stream on those, but I will start with these ones first. Oh, actually, it's very loud. It's very loud. It's very loud. Is it now better? It's kind of in the background. You can see the video screen over in here, yeah, somewhere here. Indeed so, indeed so. Let me actually share this stream to some people. Let me share the stream to some people. What kind of music have you been listening yourself recently? Let me know. Yeah, this is not the film music, I must tell you. Let me just put some information in here. I want to do a relaxing stream, kind of like a nice stream, because I have to admit sometimes I do stream and it's kind of like, oh, everything is live, I need to do everything right and such. Just instead just a kind of like chilling stream, very lovely stream. That's what would be very nice. Can you actually hear some stuff in the background? I cannot hear anything. Now it's a bit better. Yeah, let me know still about the audio levels. Can you hear? But I want the audio to be heard. That's the thing. Heard is the right word. I'm not a really big streamer guy. Like I'm not. People don't come to me for streams, but I still want to do them. I want to learn in doing them at the same time. Oh, we have one. We were in this Twitch land and in YouTube, I think.
I listened to the composer eluukkanen and Daniel Elder. I am not so familiar with them, so the sound is great.
Oh, I'm very happy to hear. I'm very happy to hear. Olaf, Daniel Elder. We actually put those on notes. I might actually listen them afterwards. Ola Gia. Yes. Giello. And Daniel Elder. Those are names I have not heard before. What kind of music they do? Oh, it's kind of like a ballad for the moon. This kind of a very lovely thing. Let's look at his website. Ooh. Open your eyes. I will check out this music later. I will. Thanks for letting me know. Always lovely to listen new music, of course.
I am not so familiar with them, so I would like to learn more about them.
Very good kind of aspect is the curiosity. It's good to be curious. Yes, that's how we pronounce it. Not sure about these guys. Like, I'm not sure about their music, but I will check those out. It's very good to kind of
because
open
this
your
seems
repertoire.
like more up-to-date composers.
Up-to-date composers? Do you mean like what kind of styles do they do? Let me know. But yes, very much composers kind of seem they have websites and everything in order. Very much seems more like a modern people, like not living in Stone Age. Stone Age is not good, guys. Like, just believe me, Stone Age is not the way you want to live. What I'm also going to be doing, because I'm going to perhaps do a review of this. Like, I have, like, if there would be enough exposure to people to know about Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone music for the PlayStation 1 and made by Jeremy Soule, I would just leave it be. But there's no coverage of it, and I need to make a video of it. I just need to. So that's why I'm also at the same time as we chat and such, I'm working on the beginning of the for the whole review kind of stuff. There's a lot of interesting information perhaps to uncover. Perhaps we shall see. Let me actually Google it. PlayStation 1. That's a very interesting kind of case how they develop the games, and I think it's even interesting for people who might not be familiar with them. You might have seen some memeful videos of those games being played, but there's more than that. There's more than that meets the eye. Because the fact is, they didn't realize when they made the first game that it's going to be very huge, like they made a lot of money. And to see the development from the first game soundtrack to the next one, it's enormous. There's actually a real orchestra playing it, and it was made in like 2003 or 2. Like, not in many games, even the bigger games like Mario's and such, they did not have orchestras yet playing their music. So it was a very interesting kind of bit of history, I think. I've studied on how composers kind of, like how games, like what were the points when soundtracks were having orchestras in them. And it's not that often sometimes. Especially in early days, like nowadays you have like even now, like it's more easier to just open the composing program Logic Pro or something like that and put some virtual instruments in there and make it like whoa, sound like real stuff. But usually it's cheaper, of course, to not hire an orchestra to play your stuff. So that's why they keep it that way. I'm just looking at the Harry Potter 1. The prize.
Very cool, with real orchestra playing the music for a game. Really like that approach. Sounds expensive though.
This is not the one that was played with the real orchestra. The first soundtrack, as you can hear, there's some instruments that are not real, like the flutes and such. You can hear that, and the horns. But the next one, if you go to the Harry Potter what's the name again? Not Prisoners of Azkaban, but anyways, like you go to the next game, it's fully orchestral. Like there's even chords, like he hey hoo he hey, and it's all by Jeremy Soule. I think it was his like major kind of thing, in order to able to go to Skyrim himself. I want to interview Jeremy Soule at some point. I just need to have a time and contact him in the right place. Currently contacting a composer for the Age of Empires.
Have known you about Jeremy Soule for a long time. What kind of music by him is out there? Skyrim.
Skyrim is one. Before that, however, like even I think before Harry Potter ones, he made music for Dungeon Siege called games, like Dungeon Siege 1 and 2. Those were very much like some early works of his. He was not known for them, but I can see the style of like Morrowind and other games in those early games of his. And I think the Skyrim was like a huge success for him, like even Oblivion and such, which he made games for, which he made soundtrack for. And Harry Potter, I think, helped him. I'm not really sure about the history yet. I still need to uncover it, but I think Harry Potter soundtracks helped him to get to those projects. Yes, indeed. I think that's the kind of the meat behind that. Very interesting history. Yes, indeed. Do you know much? Have you listened many tracks from Jeremy Soule? Have you? Let me know. I recommend to go.
He must be a great composer, because the music fits well for these games.
I very much agree on that. It fits very well. I personally, looking at the films, of course, the films, some of them have like the melody, like the and then the main Hogwarts theme was very nice from the films, of course. But I think if they would have went with Jeremy Soule's interpretation, it would still be honorable for the whole Harry Potter franchise and such, how it portrays the world. And I think, yeah, that would still work, and it still works. If you really want to listen it well, I recommend you to go to, what was the one? The PlayStation 2 one, the the second game after this. Like the orchestral quality is very good. The Hogwarts castle music is like, it's so soothing. It's very, very soothing and beautiful. Like even afterwards, I was surprised when I rediscovered this music, how good it was. The first one, you can definitely see the instrument quality of being a bit low, even for nowadays standards. But the second one they recorded with full orchestra, and you can hear it in the quality. They clearly got a lot of money to throw around, and they did. That's a kind of an interesting part of that. I'm just looking at the eBay. The game is like $34. It's not that much, but I don't have PlayStation 1, so it was made in 2001. How many years ago? 18 years ago. God damn, that's a whole lifetime. That's it's 18 years old. God damn, I feel old. I just today met an 18-year-old guy, so he might have never seen Harry Potter. It's interesting, the new generation, the young generation, how they come to be. It's very interesting to see. I have not yet shared this stream in the places that it should be shared to. Let me do that. If you want to help this stream, please do share it yourself as well. It would be a very, very lovely contribution, of course. I'm not asking any money on that, but any kind of sharing and opportunity, that kind of way to get people to watch, it would be lovely. If you see it valuable, of course, I'm not going to force you to do that. Indeed so. Sometimes, like, you can't of course listen to the same music all the time, but I do listen to this sometimes when I really just work and such, just in the background. It's very nice.
Oh, I shall selenium what I can do.
For which question that was actually? You're sharing, of course. I very appreciate it. Like, even like some people might say, like, I don't have many followers, but like, I hate this.
Share the stream.
But like the YouTube is kind of nasty for the fact that like you have to give you these positive signals to it, and if people share the stream enough, like even though like if they just share it, it's a positive thing. And I'm going to tell you this outright. I'm not going to try to hide it or stuff like that. That's the kind of a thing. And that's why it helps. That's why every single YouTuber you look, they ask that. They ask that very thing. And Twitch stream and such. We have 3 people watching our lovely stream over here. Let me actually be the first one to comment in the stream. Just to comment. Hello. Go and listen the soundtrack yourself in here. The game itself is kind of old when it comes to the gameplay methods of it. It has this kind of adventure feel of it. You go around the castle and do all sorts of stuff in there. Let me actually put this on YouTube. And I feel sometimes when I stream in Twitch, I feel a Twitch when I say YouTube in Twitch. Twitch wants to just like, oh, nobody knows about you anymore. And
Do you have favorite? With the Harry Potter Ost or any Jeremy Soule?
I have to really say, there's one very favorite song. Let me actually open it to you right now. I'm going to get back to this one. But there's this one which I really love. I've shared it in the Discord server back in the day. It's a beautiful thing. It gets myself. It's kind of a gateway to like. I can see my childhood while I watch it, and it's still beautiful. I think people who have never heard this are still going to think it's beautiful. Diagon Alley, basically Diagon Alley. When you go to that place, this is like. This is beautiful song. Very beautiful. I tell you, it's very beautiful. That's no objections. It's very, very beautiful. But of course,
Very excellent.
I really think so. It's. I just have to like. That's one of the nostalgic songs I have. Like that's, I think, the most nostalgic. Like I can when I hear this, I'm going to still perhaps listen to it when I'm like an old guy, like just 50 years old or something like that. I'm going to listen to this track. I can feel the childhood, like it's like the simpler times, the kind of like a very hopeful feel you have when you're a child. It all comes. It all comes. It all comes. It's and it's still beautiful, even though you might not have that context. It's very excellent, I think. And it's a very good loopable song. As you could see, it's a very, very short moment of music. Like it's kind of a minute or 30 seconds, and you can loop it because the variety is very much like it first like a very kind of like a smoothing intro, and then it changes to this kind of happy-go-lucky, of course, very modestly, but happy-go-lucky. This kind of being in the Diagon Alley, the kind of like the. You can see yourself kind of shopping in there. Then it takes back. Then it gives kind of like a space for you to kind of imagine, and then it repeats in just, I think, 1 minute and 30 seconds. And that's why I think it's very. You can kind of loop it and listen it very many times, even like afterwards. It's a very loopable song. I love it. I love this song. But just let's get back to the Harry Potter first one. Yeah, like I just today I'm currently contacting the Age of Empire composer.
I love those warm sweeping strings underneath in the beginning. Feels mysterious and wonder-esque in the second part.
Very, very so. It's a very warm, sweeping. I recommend you to just go to it, listen it in like in YouTube and such if you really like it. I have it on my playlist and such, and even on my computer. Like I really like this song. It's a very, very personal thing. But of course, I think it's a good quality song which Jeremy Soule made. But a very good description. Old school loops, video game. Actually, the full one which you just said. Old school loops, video game soundtrack reviews. Oh, you do video game soundtrack reviews. That's very neat. Do you happen to have a soundtrack review of Harry Potter game? Let me know. Do you? Because like I tell you, this game has had very good reviews, like and such. But I think like the soundtrack aspect of it, I really want to make a soundtrack review of, because the thing is that the role of Jeremy Soule and how he became this known composer for Skyrim and such, I think it's very it's not looked enough. I think it's a very interesting kind of story, and I want to uncover it at some point. I'm currently adding some notes here. But yeah, lovely to see you here. How are you doing? It's very much connected to Jeremy Soule, like this whole thing I want to do. Jeremy Soule, and what was his role in this? Because imagine yourself being a composer, getting this kind of like a very dream spot. Harry Potter, this kind of phenomenon that I think has not been repeated in current modern media landscape in a similar fashion. Perhaps like Marvels and such, perhaps were kind of perhaps a little bit similar, but I think it was a very, very big cultural phenomenon that like Jeremy Soule was able to ride that wave.
No, I haven't heard this soundtrack before, but I like that you're reviewing it. Hello there, Ilaki Happy Smiley.
Vic Gore Fire. That is a lovely name. Lovely to see you. Welcome to a stream of mine. Yes, we are listening as old school loops, video game soundtrack reviews. Just This is the one for Harry Potter, PlayStation 1, PC and PlayStation 1 version of the Philosopher's Stone, the Sorcerer's Stone, depending on which part of the world, the naming conventions. But a lovely soundtrack made by Jeremy Soule. We're currently listening it and having a chat. Lovely to see you.
It's me, Victor Augusto XD.
Victor Augusto! Good to see. And that was your name. We go fine. I see. Yeah, like it's a lovely soundtrack. I do think I think the very, very good aspect of what Jeremy Soule is very good in doing is the melody. He's a very good storyteller in making the music. He's very good in that. And now you can hear the kind of the oldness of the soundtrack in the background. Yeah. Like the second game, like it had full orchestrations. That like every single track, I think, were very, very well done. But the first one, it has the limitation. Imagine you being able to ride the wave of the phenomenon that was Harry Potter, because he, in the first soundtrack, you can see the quality was not the best because, of course, he was limited because of the hardware at the time, 2001. But they got so much money. Like, let me actually find this number. Like, how much it sold? I want to find out. Potter. And this is why they started to making film-connected games. I think they have already had, but like this gave a lot of big bucks.
This game marked my childhood, especially the songs that are very beautiful, minus that song of the parts of the broomstick flight. Those parts traumatized me XD.
Oh, I hated flying with those broomsticks. It's very nostalgic, of course, for people who have experienced it, but I think it's still beautiful for people who go, like, have not. I feel.
Do you know if they have preformed live any of this on a show, /real orchestra?
I would pay a ticket to visit and listen to that, but I have not seen. Let me actually try to Google that. I have tried in the past, but I think I have not seen it. PlayStation 1. Let me actually first put the wiki. I don't want to see the sales numbers first. This is the one, the boomstick thing. I was just like, I was very young and tried to just fly this thing. It's like, ugh. How did the controls work? Yeah, that was, childhood things. But I try to kind of, be away from the nostalgic too much, because I know some people who are not experienced with the soundtrack, it feels kind of annoying for people like, oh, kawaii, for every kind of like nostalgic thing they have. But, nostalgic was very, very big part of mine when I played this. I was very young as well. Very young, imagine that. Anyways.
My gosh, the bad memories. Awash XD.
Yeah, the boomstick controls, they were not fine. They were still developing those. I think in the second game they got that right. The one PlayStation 1 Wikipedia. I'm just going to look at the numbers. I think they were foundable in here. Yeah, this is the one. I think it's all beyond expectations for them. I'm going to check line. Did they have a live concert? But I think, I think it's not. I think they did not have that. For very reason that I think the Skyrim and all that kind of thing stole the limelight from them. I would personally go and even buy a flying ticket to see these ones, but I think they have just not got around it. I think it's I read it in somewhere here. Yeah, soundtrack by Jeremy Soule. Hearing the score of John Phil. So he heard it before. Indeed. So let me see. Let me try to find the selling numbers. Development. Is it in the reception or something? I remember sewing. Let me try to find it in somewhere internet. Somewhere in the internet. Sale numbers. I think there was somewhere in here. Somewhere. Let's try to find it. Yeah, but the thing is, it sold, I think, like millions, over even millions. So it made a lot of money, and because of that, they put a lot of resources, like the EA, the Electronic Arts, which made it back in the day. And like, the thing is, Electronic Arts actually made some good games in the past. They made Battle of Middle-earth, which I still have as one of the favorite games, of strategy games, and they made this. The games are actually pretty fun to play, some of them. I think the second one is this kind of like a Zelda open world kind of game where you go around the castle and such. I think it's... I personally have not played in years, but I have these vivid memories of very much enjoying it, and I have seen other people making similar kind of remarks. Of course, it feels old, you know, coming back to this generation where everything, like every movement as such, is very smooth, but still. I cannot find the sales numbers right away. Let me try to find it though. Yay! The quality of the animation, as you can see. Oh boy, that's awful. Yay! Harry Potter is not a monster or something. He's smiling actually. Yeah. And this one, like this was one of the models for the PlayStation 1 version. And as you can see, it's something. It's something. Anyway, let me try to not fool around. Let me try to find the sale numbers. Let me try to find just here. Here's one. Sales. 24 million. And, you know, later, of course, they sold more. Let me see. North American sales of its computer version reached 800,000 units. Around also almost 900,000. Which drew 24 million. And in other places, United Kingdom, it was 300,000. So that's in addition. And others say at least 200,000. In America, it was they sold 1.3 million copies. So like it's a very like it made a lot of money. Like I'm not very good at calculating and such, but like it must have made a lot of money. What I'm actually hearing right now. I don't remember this music. What was it about? This is actually composed by a different guy. I think it's for the PlayStation. Because the PlayStation and the PS version were very different. But most of the soundtrack is composed by Jeremy. And immediately you can see why it feels very different. But yes, very much so. Feels nostalgic. How are things going? We have 4 people watching. That's lovely. How is your day going? I'm actually interested on the one who commented old school video game loop soundtrack reviews. I'm going to put his channel. What kind of reviews have you done? Because I want to see some soundtrack reviews.
I'm curious what key the main themes from Harry Potter are played in, because they are perfect for the magical moments. The closest sound I can think of is in some of Grant Kirkhope's work.
I think it's are you talking about Grant Kirkhope? Let me actually try to Google that guy as well. Grant Kirkhope, Harry Potter. Oh, he has an interview over here. So what kind of music he made? Let me try to the motifs and such. Yeah. Some lovely videos over here. But yeah, the thing is that I'm not sure on the keys. I've not checked the songs yet. I don't know. Should be something that perhaps if we have music theory people over here, let me know if you know the keys. I'm not really sure on the ones that I use in the film, and I have done that I have a good hearing, but not that good, so I can remember, even though I've not been listening the film soundtrack for some while, so I'm not fully sure. But it did give this kind of magical feel to it. Magical. Yes. I think the main motive, it very much is like the whole castle is very crazy.
Didn't work on Harry Potter as far as I know, but he has worked on many soundtracks including Banjo-Kazooie.
Okay, I didn't know. Misinterpretation. But yeah, so I feel like I was not familiar with that name as well, so I was like, But yeah, he made some Banjo-Kazooie stuff, and that's what you could see here as well. I have not had very this sort of nostalgia, I would say, for his music, but he was very successful on making the Banjo-Kazooie stuff. Ukuleles and such. Yeah, he has worked on some. He's, I think, still active, which is pretty nice. You have some ukulele stuff. It's a skill to make this sort of catchy music. Not something he has made for GoldenEye, Donkey Kong 64, Perfect Dark. Let's see his YouTube channel. So he has some stuff over here. Recent one is 7 months ago. So he's still active. That is very, very nice. Lovely to see old game composers being active in YouTube and such. The thumbnails could do little work, but still, the music is the main thing. I'm not going to be listening to them because they might have some kind of a copyright bot defending them at the moment. Might. I'm pretty sure. You just have to be careful. Copyright bots, otherwise they attack you and destroy what you are. They just destroy you fully. Yeah, you can see some of my subscriptions here. It's kind of a weird thing.
Wow, nice accent.
Oh, thank you very much. It's a kind of a Finnish-English mixed accent over there. How are you doing, Words Switch Jesus? That's a name if I've ever seen one. What is that name about? But how are you doing live in Twitch? We have some Twitch viewership. 4 people, in fact. That is lovely. Are you familiar with this soundtrack? Are you? Let me know. Let me know. And now you can hear the troll chasing in the background. I used to fear this troll music. Oh, let's go back. Oh man, I used to fear that troll.
I have watched the movies, and you were on the top for classical music.
Oh, really? That was pretty neat. The games are kind of very different, of course. They are made by the game composer, which is very known for Skyrim, such as the Jeremy Soule, but they are very different from the film soundtrack. But I think you can see the similarities in some of the works. Oh. And it's a very interesting tale. I'm going to myself work a review on this, because it's as we talked in the past in the stream, it's a very, very fascinating tale. Very, very fascinating tale. I think the most fascinating thing is how it developed. Later games, they got all real orchestra played, as I said. But also the fact that, the game and film soundtracks are very different, but they still kind of look to each other. As I think I read in the Wikipedia that he got inspiration from the film, but he still did it own way, so you can kind of recognize that. The game itself is very interesting, kind of a gem from the 2000s, early 2000s, very early one. Yeah. What kind of music are yourself more familiar with? Like you found this on the classical in the Twitch. What kind of music you listen yourself? Let me know. But yes, let me try to also, while we do it, right on some stuff. But yes, Jeremy Soule, very much connected to him, the whole thing, the whole soundtrack. What did Jeremy Soule make before Skyrim and Oblivion music? I have to still think about the, what kind of name I give to the title for the whole review. I'm kind of working it at the same time here. I want to make a very good one.
I didn't realize that John Williams worked on Harry Potter. No wonder it's so great.
It's not a known fact. It's a not a known fact. There we go, 21 subscribers. And you seem to have active content in there. Let me give you a subscription. I have not yet seen your work though, but I will check that out. There's Mega Man stuff. Yeah, like that's the thing. I did not realize it in a sense that like the Skyrim composer. I never kind of made the connection when I was younger, but later on I was like, this guy. John Williams. It's he's so often said to be John Williams of the.
I am familiar with choir music, Bach. Some Christian band's friends have suggested to me. I am critical of the lyrics.
Bach is very excellent. And that I think was not made by myself. Oh yeah, choir music. Oh man. There's some beautiful choir music from, I think it was made in kind of like what was the place? It was Christian choir music from in kind of like Central, like Eastern Europe. I don't remember the country, but like it was very
2001, Soule scored the first of 5 Harry Potter games that he would work on between then and 2005.
Indeed, so he didn't work for all of the games.
His first game, Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, was nominated for an Academy of Interactive Arts and Sciences Award for Outstanding Achievement in Original Music Composition, while Chamber of Secrets and Prisoner of Azkaban won and were nominated, respectively, for a British Academy of Film and Television Arts Award for Best
He
Score
got
in the
some
Game
awards
Music
from
category.
it, and I think those are deserved awards. I think he made a very excellent work, as you found out, Lan. I personally think, like, of course, he deserves the rewards and such. But I don't remember. I'm not familiar with the after the first 3 ones. I think the games started to become bad after the first 3 ones, the first 3 games, which of course EA, they wanted to save resources and they made the games simpler. And I think that's because of the whole soundtrack became kind of like not nominated afterwards. I think some of the 4th soundtrack which I've listened, it's still good. It's still Jeremy Soule level. Yeah, this is definitely not made by Jeremy Soule. Like, this is some minigame music. Justin Skravona and Karen Griffin. Yeah. Weird times we're living.
You are the first streamer who I have found who has a reader for chat.
Of course. That's what we have. It's a lovely thing to watch a stream and then we read some stuff. I've had this for some while. It's kind of like a lovely thing, especially the. I think you're saying about the voice to chat kind of option. You can hear your voice, and it's lovely. It's lovely kind of a discuss as well, and I don't need to read it. So it's kind of like an open discussion kind of way. But yes, as you said yourself, I've been big fan of Bach music, of course. I've not really went through all of his stuff, but core music, Christian music, depending on what kind of Christian music. Well, the old ones, the classic ones, so beautiful stuff.
It copied that text from Wikipedia.
Oh. Yes. I checked the Wikipedia myself as well. That was from what you put there. But this sounds the ones which you mentioned, like it sounds like the Grant Kirkhope kind of, and these are kind of like mini themes. This could actually, I feel it could fit to. I could imagine this theme fit to the Banjo-Kazooie. This feels like Banjo-Kazooie theme. But of course it's a Harry Potter mini game. So he didn't compose all the soundtrack. That was a new thing for me myself. I've not noticed this. All of the old
This
songs.
song sounds a lot like Grant Kirkhope, yeah. Like Grootilda's yeah.
Yeah, definitely like that. That's the vibe. And usually, game music is for especially for younger children. It's composed like this. It's very like. I've listened to this kind of style before also. So it kind of many older games, especially for intended for children. They sound like that.
Yeah, it has that PS1 kid game sound.
Yeah, PS1 kid game. You summed it up right. Hello there, Julian Xamo. Nice to see a new face over here. Good to see you. Welcome to our stream. This is actually going pretty fine. I was very surprised. It was going to be kind of a relaxing stream, and it is. But I was not expecting many people to join. It was very appreciated. Appreciate it. One thing I recommend you to do right now is to go and listen to the soundtrack yourself as well, because the whole thing is that there's hours of good music you have never listened before, and if I would recommend you to just listen it, skip perhaps the first soundtrack for Harry Potter and Philosopher's Stone and go directly to Chamber of Secrets. You won't regret it. We listen to the Diagon Alley theme, but yeah, there's I'm actually instead of talking about it, let me actually bring it up. Harry Potter 2 Hog. No, actually, let me just put the soundtrack in there. Find the song itself. It's a very, very beautiful original soundtrack. Let me try to find it here.
Like it reminds me of the 102 Dalmatians game, because that one was the one I played as a kid from that era.
Ah, yeah. Many kid games have that kind of like
Hi, by the way.
Yeah, good to see you. Lovely to see a new face. But the thing is, the whole thing is I think this kind of there's some kind of playbook for composers. I'm not saying that people who compose some of the songs for are very catchy and they do their stuff, but I think some of the composers, they copy the style of they see a successful game music, oh, that's Banjo-Kazooie, and then they're just I need to make similar, and of course they make their original themes, but the style is very similar. I have not seen the Dalmatian game, so I don't know about that soundtrack. I will Google that afterwards. But I wanted to show you this one. Was it this one. So yeah, that's the Hogwarts theme, like do 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 do. And I think like any classical fan over here, like who's listening classical, I like this soundtrack made me like if you talk about with the game music with anyone, they say, oh, it's just like game music, and then they point to these soundtracks which are not very classical sounding. But I remember this the Harry Potter soundtracks. And especially, the
Hello.
second one. Aiko! Nice to see you! Hello! Good regards to France. Lovely to see. How are you doing today? But yes, this... I had many
Intriguing.
debates. Many debates in like all times with people saying like, oh, game music is nothing and such. I want to always bring this forward because it's like I think it's even like kind of like when you of course nowadays Skyrim music and everything is now played by orchestras around and such, but I think that's still a bit gamey, like a game-ish feeling. But like if you go to like this sort of like the soundtrack by Jeremy Soule for this one, I think it's less about like feeling the gamey kind of atmosphere, and they are like individual compositions in a kind of a way you can actually listen to them afterwards, because some of the game songs for games are made in a way that they suit the gameplay, and that's of course the main purpose. But some of these themes in the Harry Potter and such, especially by Jeremy Soule, they are made in so that you can listen to them individually as individual kind of songs, and they have their own movements, and they are not necessarily connected to like, hey, you just you are swinging a sword and the music just gets louder or something like that. It's not like that. Like I think in Skyrim the
I can tell it's Jeremy Soule. Very TES.
Very, very TES. Very, very so. Very, very much feels like it. And I think he got the opportunity. I have to actually check the timeline for that. But I think he got to the opportunities because of his works for this, if I remember right. But yes, it very much feels like it, the kind of like the Jeremy Soule-ish, and I was like, oh yes, of course. But still, I still think he made a very different sounding compared to the Skyrim and Oblivion and all those Elder Scroll titles. I think he made them very different. The feel is there, but I think he differentiated them enough. I feel personally. Looking at things. Of course, similarities, some instrumentation and such, there are. Now I'm listening to some kind of sound effects over here. I have the Dalmatian one. I'm not going to listen to it, I'm just going to Google it for interest. Just going to Google it. One thing I think...
First HP game was 2001 and Morrowind was 2002, so probably
2002. So yeah, the Harry Potter one was first. So I think that fits the timeline. That was the kind of idea I had. The thing is, when you have this game, and I think with Harry Potter he was able to, Jeremy Soule, get forward with the Skyrim series. So it's very important in his path, I think, to get where he is right now. So, okay, so it was kind of like, the timing makes sense. Let me just Google the 101 Dalmatians Game PS1, I suppose. Yeah. Seems like there's this kind of game you go around to do stuff. Yeah. Old movie time games. I don't actually know what they do nowadays with the movie time games. Like, I've seen some people, like, I've never played mobile games myself. I see sometimes little kids, like, they have their mobiles and they play these kind of movie time games, like Disney games, which are like now in mobile platform. They don't even make console games anymore for movie games, I think, because of course they want to. The profit factor is there. They just want to make the profit kind of usually. So it's not that. Sometimes there comes a rare chance then that like I think one Harry Potter themed game is
movie tie-in games are now mostly cash grabs, which is sad.
It's very sad. They were like, this was one of the examples, and I think there are a few ones which were actually pretty good. But there's very much cash grabs, and most of them are in mobile markets, so that also says something. Yes, and I think for the console they are not developed that much because it's cheaper to make for mobile game for mobile audiences.
I've never played a game based on a film, but I'm not sure I'm missing out with most of Theme XD.
Yeah, there's a lot of bad games out there. I just remember, I in my childhood I remember purchasing because I'm like, oh, Harry Potter film game was very nice, and there was like. There was this kind of period of these Lord of the Rings clones coming out in films even. One of them was Eragon. Still some people like it, but I like the film and such. It's not that good, I suppose. But I purchased the game. I got the game because of, like, it has a 2-player feature, so we like played again. That you could play together and such with it, and. It was that's kind of awful. Very, very bad. Like very, very simple, and it's not really a game. It's kind of like you do some stuff and it kind of ends. Of course, back in the day, they were not able to do cash grabs because there were no microtransactions. Oh, I wish I could get back to that time. No microtransactions. Goddamn. Nowadays. Like, if your child is playing, like, if your mother or father, you should be really careful to check out. Like, you should act like when I get kids, I'm going to check out every time, like, what kind of games they play, because the microtransactions they're very predatory. It's awful. Like, the gaming has lost its innocence. I think like every entertainment, of course, it's going to lose its innocence at some point, but it's very sad because I think if the microtransactions would be away, it would be more big incentive. I like this fun fair, but it would be more big, kind of like a incentive for games to be actually good because they had to hold people's attention instead of just trying to lure them in. I suppose that makes sense, at least in my head.
The Riddick games, Spider-Man 2 and some Star Wars games are some of the best movie-based games.
Spider-Man 2, I've heard about that, never played myself. Star Wars did have some very good ones. I think the LucasArts nailed it when they developed back in the day a Star Wars game. Not the newest EA made Star Wars game. That was a disaster. But I think the old, like, Star Wars Battlefront, the original one, there were like Force Unleashed. I remember playing that one. Star Wars did some good, and I think the Lego games, they were very nice, kid-friendly Lego games. They were, yeah. Star Wars did good. Not sure about the Spider-Man though. And yeah, that's, I think, how it is. Do you have any, I'm listening currently the Harry Potter Philosopher's Stone soundtrack for this game, for made by Jeremy Soule. What kind of good game soundtracks have you listened yourself? Because
low and low TR games, like Shadow of Mordor.
Shadow of Mordor, that's a kind of it's not a movie tying game though. That's kind of like they purchased the license for the make just the game in Lord of the Rings universe. As a Lord of the Rings fan myself, I'm not the biggest fan of that. The game mechanics are fine, but the story is it's fun that you can have these orc chieftains and such, but like yeah. But yeah, that's true. Lord of the Rings have many games. There's the MMOs even and such. But not like there were actually movie tying games of Lord of the Rings when they came out, and the third one was, I remember playing actually that one as well. It had a multiplayer co-op. Yeah, that was actually fun. That was fun. But yes, this the story of this whole game. Now I'm kind of getting sidetracked. But like this game and how Jeremy Soule took a kind of responsibility of course, making the songs, and it was a good success. So he was able to ride that wave in order to get the other projects. That's my theory of it. I need to still make sure that's the right assessment. I need to make sure. But that's what I'm going to make a review about. Yeah, now we have some sound effects over here. This is one theme which I wanted to show. Like, he could actually make very dreadful themes at the same time. Actually, just put this one off for
Yeah, the story is not great, but the gameplay is so satisfying.
Gameplay is satisfying, I tell you. It's so nasty that the second game it got the loot boxes and you could purchase orc generals. I'm glad it backfired. I look at like one thing, like games for PlayStation 4, they don't show the player numbers. But one thing you can kind of go away around that is to see the trophies, because the trophies tell how many people see. How many people achieve that set trophy. And some of the trophies in games, they are given because you just get into the story position. So I was able to find out that when they have like DLCs.
Yeah, I didn't get the second one because of that.
Yeah, my brother, like I said to my brother, don't buy it, but he just bought it. And I noticed that in the second one, when they had DLCs, only 1% of people of who brought the whole Shadow War 2, Shadow of Mordor was it? I don't know, Shadow War. Only 1% got to the DLC. So it's very interesting. I think they are going to backtrack because of that. Like it was not successful for them to make these microtransactions. Oh god, that's a good feeling. So hopefully the nasty monetization goes away. I want to show one thing in here, which is very dark and dark feeling. I think it's in this one. There's the dungeons. There's a very dark dungeon track over here. Not this one though. No. There's this. Let me try to find it. Dark Oak Woods. Yeah, this is the one. This is he could actually make very terrifying songs, and I'm very not. It's not. I think he did not make that terrifying songs for Skyrim and Oblivion that much. I think he should return to this kind of atmosphere he made for this first game. I want to show this for you. Yeah, Hogwarts. Send your kids to Hogwarts. That's a safe place. There's a killing creatures over there, and even some students have died there. That's a lovely place to send your children. Yeah. But that's the kind of that was the kind of a dark dungeon atmosphere.
Well, wasn't expecting that. Wouldn't be too far off from not our film.
I think he has done good music afterwards, but I think he has not returned to this sort of I think he could make more darker themes, like in later times. Like he was in this soundtrack, especially, like you said, like it was very some of the themes were very surprising. Like they are very well done. Of course, the first game it has the limitations of some of the instruments were not that good. Actually, let me play the theme for the second game, and I think that sums up the whole Jeremy Soule making music for these Harry Potter games. I think that sums it up. I think I need to show it to you. The first theme you can hear. Yeah. I'm going to let the music is going to tell.
Waltz gone wrong.
Waltz, very much a waltz. Very much so. I tell you, like there's even one better example, but I'm just not going to show whole full songs here. But like, go and listen to this soundtrack if you have still not. You are going to be blown away by some of the songs. I think the third game has, I think, the best beginning intro. I should have actually showed it. The third game has one of the best sound. I think the songs in the whole series. Well, the third game was not the best, but the songs were excellent. Especially when you arrive with this train to Hogwarts, and then the Death Eaters come. It's very haunting and like very heart dripping. I have a plan that I might actually play these games, perhaps stream them at some point. I'm not very sure. Of course, like I'm not a streamer channel, but I have a nostalgia for this, so I might actually go do that. But more, of course, I'm a musician. I'm going to compose. I'm going to make a review of this. That's the kind of the main thing I'm going to do. That's the main thing. Yeah, let me actually show the third game just to show it, because I'm not going to stream this again. I'm perhaps going to go to the stream and just listen to it again. I'm not sure, but I think I'm not, so I'm going to have my chances and show you that. Let me try to find it.
I'd love to see a review of this one.
Yeah, this is going to be a one I'm currently focusing. Last one was for Final Fantasy XII soundtrack, which I made. You can check that out in YouTube. I had this one editor, like Tactical, which is a very good editor to work on it. Very much put a lot of quality to it. This one is I'm going to this is going to take a few months, but I'm going to make it. It's going to be very TV quality sort of thing. I try to get a hang of just contacting to Jeremy Soule himself. I've been able to contact some composers for some games, but some are more busier than others, so it might not be a possibility. But I try to get all the information right as much as possible in order to do that. But yes, look forward to that. Look forward to that. And of course, if you want to support the creation of it, go and check my Patreon. I always need to bring the Patreon. But yeah, if you want to support it, of course, that would be helping. But I'm going to make it nonetheless. That's the thing. I'm going to make this review. It's going to be very, very nice. This one, what I want to do.
Weird question. What is your favorite game that you don't like the soundtrack very much?
That's an actually interesting question. It's not a favorite game, but you mentioned one of the. I think you mentioned the Shadow of War. I think like that's not my favorite game, but definitely the soundtrack in that is horrible. It's just ambient, and of course it serves the game, but like it's not like the films at all, which the game was based upon. It's not at all like that. Let me actually think about the worst example. Which I actually liked. Some of the modern games. Like, I am not a big fan of some of the modern game soundtracks that are made, especially for, let me see. Can't think of anything. Because usually usually the game is, on my mind, actually not the best. In that kind of like very hard to find the kind of the match you are proposing. But one thing, of course, the Shadow of War, Shadow of Mordor, the soundtrack itself, it's kind of the kind of mess and very much kind of the soundscape kind of thing, which I think they just go too far from the Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, now that you mention Shadow of Mordor's soundtrack isn't very memorable.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's, I think, a thing. It's not that memorable. And like there are many cases I know about soundtracks that are better than the actual game. I think in some cases this Harry Potter one is one example. The soundtrack is very high quality. Let me try to still think about the game that was good, but the soundtrack was bad. This is actually a hard one. Because of course the music, I think for personally, the music is a big enjoyment of any game. So it's a very hard one. I need to actually pass that one. I'm sure, but I'm going to say the Shadow of Mordor and Shadow of War. The soundtrack is not that memorable. The game is fun. Let me still show the. What was the? Not this one. Let me try to find this is one beautiful track in the third game, I think. Okay, this is the. They even made a Game Boy game for this, and it had a different soundtrack. I think this was not made by Jeremy Soule, I think. Yeah, this one. Like, I'm not going to. This is not the example, but I'm just going to, just. They made kind of like a RPG type of Harry Potter game out of Prison of Azkaban. I've actually played it. It was very much like an RPG, like this kind of a. You go around the castle. It's very kind of like you have this pixel graphic. It feels like an old, Japanese video game, that kind of sense, for Game Boy. Yeah. But that's not the one I wanted to show. Let me try to find it. Yeah, the third theme, the Prison of Azkaban. It's a beautiful one. I'm not going to spoil it. You can check it out yourself. But this is one. This one I want to show. Hogwarts Express. As you notice, I'm a huge fanboy of the music over here. I just have to admit, of course, that to you. But I tell you, I think Jeremy Soule, I'm not sure has he composed for film, but I think he has the capabilities. If he would have composed for the Harry Potter films, I would be
I think
problem.
that bad soundtracks are hard to remember because the bad soundtracks are usually the ones you don't remember at all.
That's a good one.
Enjoying
that's
this kind
true.
of lightweight beauty.
You mentioned that the Shadow of War, it was hard to remember the soundtrack.
Peace.
And I think that's very, very true. Very, very true. And that's why it's very hard to remember the bad ones. Yeah, that's very actually true. You don't want to think about them. I think I recently actually now I remember. I actually played No Man's Sky just recently because the game has, of course, it released in a bad state. I played it recently. It was pretty fun. Of course, they have updated it. The soundtrack, I think, in that game is also kind of lagging. Of course, it's kind of a space atmosphere and such. But the game is very, very fun, at least in the state it's right now. This kind of adventure feel if you have played No Man's Sky.
According to Wiki, he has worked on mostly TV and documentaries, rather than film.
I think that is what he has worked on more. I think he has not made for musical films. Of course, you have to focus some way. You can't be composer of everything, but I think he could if we wanted to. It's a kind of he's this kind of entrepreneur in this kind of area, of course. So might be more interested, of course, working for that.
Now I understand why Wikipedia says he has been described as the John Williams of video game music about Jeremy Soule.
I also saw that description of him. Very fitting. Very, very fitting. He is this kind of a John Williams, just very, very a similar style even with him. Yes, there's one track to show it. John Williams made Indiana Jones themes, and there's this one theme made by Jeremy Soule that sounds like Indiana Jones. Like you could imagine it being Indiana Jones. Let me actually share it to you. But yeah, I'm glad you like the lightweighted beauty of that song which I shared before from Jeremy Soule. But I want to show this still. Good that you mentioned it. Good that we mentioned that. Actually, I could remember this one. This is one of the dungeons, the kind of level areas, kind of a glacier. This kind of a place you go in this third game. Listen how this sounds. I get like Indiana Jones vibes, especially from the beginning. I very much get like, and I think because of that, the John Williams expression, like he's a video game John Williams. I think it's a very fitting. It's like It's bullseye. It is very fitting. I'm going to mention that in the review, very much so.
Osh, I like this very much. Nice one indeed.
Indeed, I think this is the main reason why I think this needs uncovering.
Oh yeah.
There has not been
Totally
reviews on
got
this.
some Indiana Jones and old Star Wars.
Very much like Indiana Jones. The thing is, John Williams, he has this own sort of style he has done for this. And I think this is kind of of course there are composers that try to mimic John Williams, and I'm not just sure about them, but if I think about the closest one to imitate this John Williams style, very much Jeremy Soule and this piece, which we just heard, comes to mind. And I think this is the very reason I'm going to make a review on this, because there's a lot of stuff that has not been yet uncovered to most people.
That is the most John Williams thing I've ever heard that isn't actually Williams.
Yeah, that's the wording. Most John Williams thing I've ever heard that isn't John Williams. Very well put. Well put. I'm actually going to steal that to the review. Let me actually copy that. Here we go. I'm a thief now. Official. Here we go. Let me put that too. Put that in here. That's what we have. So, that's all I think. I am going to make a review on this. Feel free to follow the social media channels and the Twitters and especially Discord. Please do follow that, because the thing is, if we want to see kind of the process I'm going to do this review, it would be lovely to not to lose you. Like the whole YouTube scape and Twitch scape and such is something that if we just leave it in that, no, we can't trust the notifications as such. So, we listen to soundtrack. If you would like to share all the soundtracks to our Discord server and discuss about them, let's do that. It would be lovely to hear what kind of tracks you have that I think you feel that are like very worthy soundtracks and still not noticed, it's still not remembered. I think there are these titles. If you have any very interesting soundtracks, feel free to share in the Discord later on. And do listen to Harry Potter soundtracks for these games. If you want some lovely background music that you are not familiar with, and I recommend starting from the second one, Chamber of Secrets, you're not going to regret it. You're going to love it. If you like at all like this kind of beautiful cinematic themes. But yes, that's all for today.
Hey, may I make a suggestion?
Oh yes.
Is it possible to get in touch to do an interview with Mikko Tamiya? I would donate for that.
Oh, really?
I am a fan.
Well, in case there's a donation in hand, I could actually do that. I do commissions for videos.
What's the Discord?
Oh, the Discord link. Actually, I don't have that in YouTube. But Laman, I am open for that. I'm open for that. Mikko Tamiya, I think he is something I could actually get to touch with. That is a composer I think I could do an interview about. Very much so. Let's discuss that in Discord, and I would, if I get a donation, I can do it. Yes. Discording, yes, of course. That's the one. That's actually like we have had discussions, Lan on this Discord, and I tell you, you mentioned the Mikko Tamiya, and I've not yet got to of course it would be still take like millions of years if to get to review on and interview him. But I think if I get a donation, I could do it. I could contact him and interview him if he's interested. Of course, that's also one thing we need to check that. But this is the link. Sorry, I was just taking.
I am happy for you trying.
Of course, we shall see. I think it can work because usually composers, they want to be interviewed. The problem with the like bigger ones like John Williams and such, they are already so big it's hard to contact them. I think every composer wants to get interviewed, so that is a very big possibility. Let me share the link to you to the Discord. It's a bit.ly link, but it should lead to the right place. Here we go. That's the place. Go there. Check it out. Let's have discussion. It's a freelancer server. So basically, we also do freelancing there. But discussing about music, that's a place as well for that. That's a place. But I think that is all for today. Thanks for joining in. Thank you for the fruitful discussion. It was lovely to chat with you, lads. And especially, talking about this very close to my heart soundtrack. It was very nice. I wish you all good day. Let's follow each
Goodbye, God bless.
And discuss more later on. Wherever you are, I wish you a good day. See you later.
Bye, Elias. Great stream.
Thank you. It was lovely to have you.